The summer of 1887 had nearly killed Black Creek. For 3 months, the town had seen almost no rain. Dust covered the wooden buildings, horses coughed in the dry heat, and every evening the wind carried the smell of cattle, gunpowder, and desert sage through the narrow streets. Black Creek looked like an ordinary frontier town. But almost everyone who lived there was hiding something. The most powerful man in town was Samuel Bell, owner of Bell Ranch. He controlled thousands of acres, employed dozens of cowboys, and had enough money to influence the sheriff, the judge, and nearly every merchant in town. Samuel had one daughter, Clara Bell. She was 24 years old, sharp-minded, stubborn, and far more comfortable on horseback than inside a parlor. Her father had taught her to shoot when she was 12, and by 17 she could hit a tin can at 50 yards. Most people in Black Creek respected her. Some feared her. But nobody expected that one morning, the entire town would call her a murderer. It happened on August 17th. At sunrise, a ranch hand named Tommy Reed came running into town. Samuel Bell is dead. Within minutes, riders were heading toward Bell Ranch. Sheriff Wade Mercer arrived first. Samuel Bell was lying beside his desk inside his private study. One bullet had entered his chest. The window was open. The safe stood open. And lying on the floor beside the dead rancher was Clara Bell's silver-handled revolver. Clara was found outside the house. Her dress was torn. Her hands were covered with dust. She looked toward the sheriff in confusion. "Where's my father?" Mercer didn't answer. Clara stepped forward. "Wade, what happened?" The sheriff looked at the revolver lying inside the study. Then he looked back at Clara. "You need to come with me." Clara's face tightened. "Why?" "Your father is dead." She froze. For several seconds, she couldn't breathe. Then she whispered, "No." She pushed past him and ran inside. The sight of Samuel lying beside the desk broke something inside her. "Papa." She fell to her knees. Mercer grabbed her arm. Clara pulled away. "Who did this?" The sheriff looked toward the open safe. "We're still investigating." Clara suddenly noticed something. "His papers." "What?" "My father kept important documents in that safe." Mercer's expression changed. "Those documents are gone." Clara looked at him. "Then someone came here looking for them." Before Mercer could answer, Marcus Kane entered the room. Kane was the second richest rancher in the territory. He was 60 years old, broad-shouldered, silver-haired, and always dressed like a gentleman. But everyone in Black Creek knew he was dangerous. He looked at Samuel's body. Then he looked at Clara. "What happened?" Clara asked. Kane's expression remained calm. "You tell us." Clara stared at him. "What does that mean?" "Your father's dead. Your gun was beside his body. His safe was open. I didn't kill him." Kane glanced at the sheriff. "Of course you didn't." The sarcasm in his voice was unmistakable. By noon, rumors had spread across town. Clara had killed her father for money. Clara had opened the safe. Clara had planned to run away. None of it was true. But in a town ruled by fear, truth didn't matter as much as power. By sunset, Clara was inside the jail. She had not been questioned by a judge. She had not been given a lawyer. Nobody had even allowed her to attend her father's funeral. Then, shortly after midnight, the jail door opened. Sheriff Mercer stood there with 4 armed deputies. Clara looked at him. "Where are you taking me?" Mercer wouldn't meet her eyes. "Outside town." "Why?" No answer. They pulled her from the cell. Clara fought. "You're making a mistake." One deputy grabbed her wrists. "Let me go." They dragged her into the street. Marcus Kane was waiting beside a black wagon. Clara's blood ran cold. You. Kane stepped closer. You should have left your father's business alone. What business? For the first time, Kane looked uncomfortable. Then he whispered. You really don't know, do you? Clara stared at him. Know what? Kane turned away. Take her west. The wagon began moving. Clara watched Black Creek disappear behind her. She didn't know where they were taking her. But she knew one thing. This was not justice. It was a murder. And someone had already decided she would never return. The wagon traveled for nearly an hour. The town lights disappeared. The road became nothing but two pale tracks cutting through the desert. Clara's hands were tied behind her back. Her wrists were bleeding. Sheriff Mercer rode beside the wagon, staring straight ahead. Finally Clara spoke. Wade. He didn't respond. You served my father for 15 years. Still nothing. Look at me. Mercer slowly turned. Please, Clara said. Tell me why. The sheriff's face was pale. I have a family. So do I. Mercer looked away. That was when Clara realized something terrifying. He was afraid. The wagon stopped beside an abandoned cemetery. Clara looked around. There were no houses. No lights. No witnesses. Only old graves, twisted trees, and endless desert. Then she saw the hole. A freshly dug grave waited beneath the moonlight. Clara stopped breathing. No. The deputies climbed down. She backed away. No, please. Marcus Kane approached. You were given a chance. What chance? Your father told you things he shouldn't have. I don't know what you're talking about. Kane studied her. Then he asked. Where is the key? Clara's heart stopped. Her father had given her a small brass key 3 nights before his death. He had told her never to give it to anyone. She had hidden it inside her dress. Kane knew about it. Clara said nothing. Kane's eyes narrowed. Where is it? I don't have it. He slapped her. Clara fell into the dirt. Kane looked at the deputies. Put her in. They grabbed her. Clara screamed and fought with everything she had. One deputy threw her into the grave. She landed hard. Her shoulder struck the ground. She looked up at the men standing above her. Mercer. The sheriff stepped closer. You know I'm innocent. Mercer closed his eyes. Forgive me. Forgive you. Clara's voice broke. You helped my father for 15 years. I know. Then don't do this. Mercer looked at Kane. Kane nodded. The first shovel of dirt fell. Clara screamed. Stop. Another shovel. Dirt covered her legs. Another. Her waist. Clara grabbed the edge of the grave. Please. Mercer looked away. Kane watched silently. Then he crouched beside the grave. Your father found something. Clara stopped struggling. What? The Black Creek ledger. She stared at him. What is it? A record of every man who helped your father. My father? Kane smiled. You really know nothing. Another shovel of dirt fell. Clara's chest tightened. My father wasn't the only one involved. Kane said nothing. That silence told her enough. Her father had secrets. Big ones. Secrets worth killing for. The dirt reached her shoulders. Then Kane leaned closer. Where is the key? Clara looked him directly in the eyes. You'll never find it. Kane's expression hardened. Finish it. The deputies covered her neck. Clara could barely breathe. She thought of her father. She remembered his final conversation with her. He had stood at her bedroom door that night, looking more frightened than she had ever seen him. Whatever happens, he had said, never trust Marcus Kane. Clara had laughed. Now she understood. The dirt covered her face. Everything became black. For several seconds, Clara couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. She clawed at the dirt. Nothing. Her lungs screamed. Her fingers bled. She thought about her father. Then she remembered the brass key. She had hidden it beneath the lining of her dress. She pulled it free. Her fingers closed around it. She pushed upward. Once. Nothing. Again. Her nails broke. Again. The dirt shifted. A small pocket of air entered the grave. Clara pulled herself upward. Her fingers reached the surface. She dug faster. Her head broke through. She gasped. Cold night air filled her lungs. She crawled out of the grave and collapsed. For several minutes, she lay completely still. Then she opened her eyes. The men were gone. The horses were gone. The wagon was gone. They had left her to die. But they had failed. Clara slowly stood. Blood covered her hands. Her dress was ruined. Her hair was filled with dirt. But she was alive. She looked toward Black Creek. Then she looked at the brass key. Her father had died protecting a secret. And now Clara intended to discover it. She started walking. Clara reached Black Creek just before sunrise. The town was silent. She moved through the empty streets like a ghost. Nobody saw her. Nobody heard her. She stopped outside the jail. Her wanted poster was already nailed to the wall. Clara Bell, wanted for the murder of Samuel Bell. Beneath it, someone had written. Presumed dead. Clara stared at the words. Then she tore the poster from the wall. She walked directly to the sheriff's office. Inside, Wade Mercer sat alone. A bottle of whiskey stood on his desk. His hands were shaking. He had not slept. He had spent the entire night convincing himself that Clara was dead. Then he heard 3 knocks. Mercer froze. 3 slow knocks. He reached for his revolver. Who's there? Silence. He stood. Opened the door. And nearly dropped his gun. Clara stood outside. Her face was pale. Her clothes were covered in dirt. Her eyes looked different. Mercer whispered. Clara. She stepped inside. You were the first one who buried me. Mercer backed away. I thought you were dead. You wanted me dead. No. You helped them. Mercer looked toward the window. If Kane finds out you're alive. He already knows. Mercer froze. Clara closed the door. Now tell me the truth. The sheriff sat down. His shoulders collapsed. Your father wasn't murdered because of money. Then why? Mercer reached beneath his desk. He pulled out an old envelope. This was found in Samuel's study. Clara opened it. Inside was a photograph. 5 men stood together outside an old ranch house. Samuel Bell was one of them. Marcus Kane stood beside him. Clara stared. Who are the others? Mercer pointed. The judge. Another. The bank owner. Another. The cattle buyer. Clara looked at the final man. She didn't recognize him. Who is he? Mercer hesitated. Your father's brother. Clara's eyes widened. My uncle died 20 years ago. That's what everyone believed. Clara looked back at the photograph. On the back was a handwritten message. "We all know what happened at Black Creek." Her hands trembled. "What's the Black Creek ledger?" Mercer stared at her. "You heard Kane. Tell me." The sheriff lowered his voice. "For years, powerful men have been stealing land from settlers. They forged deeds. They paid judges. They threatened anyone who resisted. And my father? Your father helped them." Clara stepped back. "No. Then he tried to expose them." "Why?" "Because he discovered what they planned to do next." "What?" Mercer looked toward the window. "Take every major ranch in the county." Clara's eyes filled with anger. "And they killed him." Mercer nodded. "Your father hid the evidence before they found him." Clara held up the brass key. "What does this open?" Mercer stared at it. "An old storage room beneath Bell Ranch." Clara's heart raced. "Why didn't Kane find it?" "Because your father never told him where it was." Suddenly. Bang! A bullet shattered the window. Mercer ducked. Clara dropped to the floor. Another bullet slammed into the wall. Someone was outside. Mercer crawled toward the back door. "They know." Clara grabbed the photograph. "Who?" "The men in that picture." Outside, horses thundered through the street. At least a dozen riders. Clara looked through the broken window. Marcus Kane was sitting on a black horse at the end of the street. He was staring directly at the sheriff's office. Then he raised his hand. The riders stopped. Kane slowly smiled. Clara understood. He had discovered that she survived. And he had come to finish what he started. Mercer whispered. "You have to leave." Clara shook her head. "No. Clara, there are too many of them." She looked at the brass key. Then at her father's photograph. Then toward Bell Ranch in the distance. "My father died because he knew the truth." She loaded the sheriff's spare revolver. "I'm going to find out what that truth was." Mercer stared at her. "And then?" Clara looked through the broken window at Marcus Kane. "Then I'm coming back for every man who buried me." Outside, Kane raised his rifle. Clara stepped away from the window. The first shot of the coming war echoed across Black Creek. And somewhere beneath the abandoned Bell Ranch, behind a locked iron door, waited a secret that Samuel Bell had died to protect. A secret that would change Clara Bell's life forever. Because the woman Black Creek believed was dead. Had just come back for the truth.